In this video, we are looking at how to create an invoice. Paul here from Small Crown Productions. Welcome to the Business of Art. In this video, we're going to create an invoice based on the Australian tax rulings. Now, if you're in America, they are actually good practice. Okay, so we're just going to jump here onto the ATO website. So this is ato.gov.au. And if you just type in ATO Invoice Requirements, this page will pop up. So you can see there it says if a customer asks for an invoice, a tax invoice, you must provide one within 28 days unless it is for a sale of $82.50 or less. Now, despite that, I thoroughly recommend that you send an invoice for any amount. So that's just me. But you can see here for sales under $1,000, these are the requirements that you have to have on the document. The document is intended to be a tax invoice. You need the seller's identity, which is your identity, the seller's ABN, the date the invoice was issued, the brief description of the item sold, including the quantity if applicable and the price, the GST amount, if any, payable, which we can get to in a minute, and the extent to which each sale on the invoice is taxable. Okay, so this is the invoice template that I use, that I set up for myself, and it's pretty straightforward. So my logo in the top left corner, you don't need a logo. If you don't have one yet, just use your name, it's totally fine. My ABN, my phone number, my email, and my postal address goes in a box on the other side. The word invoice to indicate that it's an invoice, not a tax invoice, which is what it would be if I was registered for GST, but I'm not. A unique invoice number. Now, I use an invoice number system by the financial year that I'm in. So for me, currently, I'm in the 22-23 financial year. So at the beginning of every financial year, I restart my invoicing off with a 22-23 01, then the second invoice will be 02. You don't need to do that. You could just start from one and go to forever. If you're using any kind of software, you can generally, like in Xero or MyOb or something like that, you can actually put in your own prefix and it will number it based on that prefix. So it's entirely up to you how you do it, but I do recommend that you maintain a system of unique identifiers that doesn't ever repeat. So don't start at one every financial year. Make sure that you've got some kind of prefix before that so that you know it's that particular financial year, or that there's just a sequential number that goes on to forever. So unique identifier, invoice number, the date of issue. And down here, just a little bit of an attention. This is who the invoice is to. This is who I'm charging, their name, and some contact details for them. And that might also include their ABN if it's over $1,000. Then I just put down a bit of a scope around the work. So the date of the work, the type of work that it was, the type. So that might be project, daily. So what type of fee essentially am I charging? Is it a day rate? Is it a weekly rate? Is it a project rate? Is it a flat rate? And then that rate will be the actual amount. So, and that rate might be, say, $7.50 a day. And there might be 3 days, and then I'll put the total in there, which will be 3 7s are 21, so it's $22.50. The other thing that I will do here is I sell little one-off projects, little shows that I've created that go into vacation care groups and that kind of stuff. I know what I should be charging for that per day, or per session rather. But often some of those groups, particularly the small ones, they don't have the budget to pay for that. And I come to an agreement with my actors who are happy to work for a little bit less, so that we can continue to get that work and build our reputation through there. So if there is someone that I'm discounting or I'm doing some mates rates, and I tend to do this for anybody that I know that I'm not charging enough for because of their budget, but I'm interested in the work because it's helping me out. You know, sometimes you don't take the work because they're not paying enough, but you know, if it's something that you're interested in, what I will do is do all of that and calculate it. And then I will anchor the price up here at its full rate. And then I will add a line down here that is a discount. And I will often spell that correctly. And then I'll put in some kind of discount that brings the total down to the amount that we had discussed, that we agreed on. So say, you know, they have $1,500 and I'm going to be okay with that for that particular project. I'll still cost it out at full rates, because what I'm doing is I'm anchoring my market value, and then I'm giving them that discount, and I'm doing that on paper because it shows them what I'm actually worth, what they should be getting charged, And it sets up a sense of reciprocity in a way, not with everyone. Some people don't care and they just won't take any notice of it. But what I've particularly found is when I say, look, this should be $750 a session. We understand that you don't have the budget for that. So we have come to an agreement where we're willing to do that a bit cheaper. So let's talk about what you can afford. I tend to find that it helps them come up higher and get us a little bit closer, as opposed to them going, well, we've only got, this much money. It just helps you anchor your market value in their mind, so they feel like they're getting a great deal. You're being a great person because you're giving them an excellent, deal. But it also means that at some point you can say, hey, look, we're just getting a bit too much work right now. So for some of you clients that are not able to actually meet us at the rate that we should be at, we're going to have to actually just let you go. We can't work with you at the moment because we're actually able to get enough work at our full rate. We've been doing you a favor. We're actually at a point now where we just can't afford to do that favor for you because we're actually getting too many bookings at the actual rate that we need. So unfortunately, you're going to be the first one to go. It's never a fun conversation to have, but it gives you the ability to do that because you have set your market rate. And then of course the amount owing. I'm not registered for GST. You only need to charge GST or be registered if you are earning $75,000 or more, or if you're a not-for-profit, $150,000 or more. So I always put this invoice is exclusive of GST. I'm not charging it. So I'm not collecting it and passing it on to the government. Amount payable within 7 days of invoice date. 14 days is probably more real. Or I might put 30 days depending on kind of what we know is going to happen, depending on how much of a process they have to go through. But just set your pay dates on there because that gives you the ability then to follow up if they haven't paid. You can send a little invoice reminder going, hey, just letting you know this invoice is still unpaid. We need to get this sorted out. And then my direct deposit details down there for my bank account. So that's my template. That's what I use every time. I will pop a link to that in the description below so you can just download it and manipulate it to your own liking. I like to produce them in Word and then export them out of Word to a PDF so that the document that I send is the PDF. They never get a version in Word. It's always a PDF. So that's how you create an invoice. If you are someone that engages other performers or creatives to work with you, you may need to pay them superannuation because the superannuation laws recently changed. If that's you and you're not sure how to set that up yet, then click on the video that will pop up at the end of this one and it will take you to a video I've recently made about how to set yourself up to pay superannuation. It's a pretty important thing to make sure you get right because there are fines that can be applied if you don't. So head on over, have a look at that video, and I will see you there.